What's up, people? In this video, I'm going to talk about the most noticeable side effect related to remote ID with the DJI Avata, and that is the cable used to connect your goggles to your mobile device. So there are several things to go over about this. What I don't want to do is get into, opinions and whether or not people should be complying with remote ID. I get it. I understand those sentiments. It's very unfortunate, but this is the state of affairs of what we're dealing with now. So I just want to provide some solutions and options to deal with the system in regards to, the current regulations and the way the manufacturer has designed it. The first thing that needs to happen is that everyone who's affected by remote ID needs to reach out to the product engineers at DJI and request that they implement a fix for the connection between the goggles and the mobile device. We're all aware that there's already technology in place to do things wirelessly. We have Bluetooth. There's methods to do this. I'm not sure why they didn't, knowing this was coming. But the fact that we have the cable between, that's our biggest problem. So one way to reach out to the project engineers that I went through this morning is I plugged into the Fly app and I got a prompt to answer a questionnaire about my DJI Avata Fly combo. The last two questions in that questionnaire allow you to provide some commentary. So what I did is, one, I request that they design and implement a method to utilize the system without a cable, a wireless connection that, whether it's Bluetooth or whatever they come up with, we should not have to have a cable between our goggles and our mobile device, bottom line. And then I also mentioned to them an issue I was having with the cable where it was taking battery life from my goggles battery and supplying it to my mobile device, which is an issue. So, use that questionnaire as an opportunity to provide your insight. They're going to apply this stuff. And it might be as simple as just doing a firmware update for them to make this remote ID eliminate the cabling between. So you guys got to do that. The community's at least got to come together on that part of it and say, hey, let's go wireless on this. What are we doing, guys? Come on. Get the fix in. So do that, everyone. Beyond that, let's go ahead and talk about some of the physical issues and electronic issues associated with the cabling. Right off the bat, the first thing you're going to run into is your cable length. For example, if you buy the Fly combo, you get this little cable that's like, I don't know what that thing is. I haven't measured it. What, 18 inches, 20 inches long? You're going to have very limited options using that. That's a USB-C by USB-C cable. You're going to have very limited options on where you can put your mobile device in relation to the position of your goggles. So that's a problem. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you got to get a longer cable if you don't already have one. Now, just so happens I had a 10-foot charging cable that was a USB-C by USB-C-A, and DJI also ships with a adapter that's a USB-C by USB-A. And when I plugged in my charging cable to my mobile device, I was not getting an image to the Fly app. When I used the USB-C by USB-C cable, I was getting my image. It was working as intended, but that charging cable I had did not work. So I'm not sure if it was the adapter or the charging cable itself, but, doing a little bit of research, not all cables are created equal, and some of those cables are just intended to be charging cables, depending on what generation they are, and they have different capabilities. So what I did is I knew I needed a longer cable, and I discovered I needed a higher quality cable. So I did a little bit of research, and I came across this character here. which is a USB-C by USB-C, and it's got a couple key features that I decided I would pay a few extra bucks for just to mitigate any other possible issues. And that is, one, it's got the 90-degree end on it. We're going to kind of go over why I wanted to go with a 90-degree. I wanted to get two 90-degree ends, but I think this might work better because it'll allow me to experiment a little bit. But this cable is actually higher quality in terms of data transfer. It's a 20 gigabytes per second bidirectional transmission cable, and it also has the 100-watt capability for charging, whether or not you want to use that or not. I mean, you could use it for other devices. Having 100 watt is handy capability. And then it also has a video output of 4K at 60 hertz. Not all the cables you look at have that. This is a USB 3.2 generation 2. So that's important because that should enhance your image quality while you're using it. You know, I haven't tested a bunch of cables, so I can't confirm or deny the viability of that. But like I said, I did try a charging cable that did not work. So keep an eye out for that when you're buying a new cable. I paid a little over $20 for this one on Amazon and had it shipped same day. So, and it's a nice cable. I mean, I'm looking at it. It's, you know, got a braided sheath on it, and it is quite a bit thicker than the cable shipped with the DJI Avata kit. Quite a bit thicker. So it looks to actually be a nice cable. But and here on the box, claims to have some gold plating processing. So hey, might be pretty high quality. But anyway, another thing I went with on that is 3 meter length. So that's nearly 10 feet. I knew I wanted to get a 10-foot cable. Not everybody's going to need or want a 10-foot cable, but because I'm experimenting and the way I do things, I wanted to make sure I had plenty of length to mess with. Because a lot of times, most of the time, in fact, I'm going to use my tablet as my mobile device. And I may just simply set that thing down on a table, or maybe I'll be out, you know, in a remote area and have that thing in my backpack or something like that. I need to have plenty of cable to either reach over my shoulder or be standing several feet away from the device. So that's what I'm going to do. Something I want to point out too about cables, and this is going to be important when you see some of the methods I'm going to use moving forward, is these data cables aren't intended, or at least it's not advised, to put sharp bends in them. Like you'll notice you get a lot of cables shipped and they got these really steep bends put in them. Well, maybe it's not a big deal to some people, and maybe, you know, it's not going to matter at all to others. But just as someone who's worked with a lot of electrical stuff, you know, over the years, you don't want to be putting those sharp bends in your cables. It's not advised, so you want to avoid it. And we're going to see why in a minute. So part of why I wanted this 90-degree was because the way I want to fasten it to my goggles to eliminate pull-out or strain on the connection. And what I was thinking is, okay, I'm going to connect this thing to the goggle, and then I can secure it to the strap. Well, unfortunately, I kind of forgot about my power cable at that time, which directly interferes with that 90-degree. So you can't run this 90 straight back. You just can't. It doesn't. There's no way to connect this 90 as it points straight back to the strap. So one thing I'm going to try up front, I'm going to try both using the straight and the right angle 90-degree. The first solution I'm going to try is just putting it around front. Okay, I know it's a little goofy, but I don't want a lot of strain on that cable, so I'm just going to leave a nice loop up front, and then I can secure these cables right here with, you know, a Velcro strap or a zip tie or something like that. It's a little goofy, but hey, it is what it is, and that'll work, and it'll eliminate having that thing get pulled out or snagged up on something. At least I can have it secured here, so I've got a strain relief on these cables so they're not getting yanked out while I'm operating. That's the first option. Now, part of the reason why I pointed out putting the sharp bends in the cable is I'm also going to try the straight end, but the problem I run into there is I got to put some sharp bends in it, because you can either just plug it in and leave it dangling down to your device, or what I'm going to do, against my better judgment, is I'm going to put a bend in it. That's not too bad. Probably not even a problem. I'm probably just overemphasizing this issue. I'm going to put a bend in it like that, and put a bend in it right here. Take a piece of Velcro, tidy this up right here, and then I can connect it to the goggle like that, right? So you basically got one option. You either got that loop with the 90 going around front, or you're going to have this loop here, or you're just not going to secure it at all, because I'm eventually going to secure this to the goggles, or you're just going to go straight down. But to me, it's imperative that these be clipped on here. You got to have that pull-out resistance. And again, I don't want to get into the whole disconnecting in flight thing. Somebody else can do videos on that. I'm not really going to spend too much time on that. But I want these things secure. I want reliability, and that's going to be having these things fastened to that strap and run back and away. So I know a lot of guys are also, or a lot of users have been putting the battery on here as well, so that'll be part of the system, but I'm not convinced I like the whole battery weight on there. I've been putting it in my pocket just to keep the weight off my head, but you know, I'll experiment that as well, where I have this cable bundled up, that cable secured both ways. I'm going to try it with the 90 going around the front and this loop going around the bottom. The 90 can also be handy on your mobile device, so that's, you know, again, why I'm kind of okay with having both options, so I can see what I really like. And having that 90, you know, depending on whether you got a tablet or a cell phone, either going up or down, you just don't have something sticking out far off the side that can get, you know, bent or hit and cause damage to either the cable or the port on your device. So I really think that 90 is going to be handy, and it may come in the future where I decide that I really do want to have a cable that's 90 degree on both sides. I'm kind of just reading between the lines here, and I like the snag resistance of having that lower profile loop. That's just going to be probably ideal. So let me take a minute and maybe kind of secure some of this stuff so it looks a little more final, and see how that looks. Alright, so here's one version or one option that I'm going to experiment with for the cable routing. So I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this so you can see what I've done. I've used a combination of one zip tie, one small zip tie, one of these, and this Velcro roll, which is, looks like it's about 1 inch, and it comes in various lengths. I bought this at Home Depot, so you can probably buy it at various hardware stores or department stores, Walmart, something like that. Home Depot's got it for sure. So all I did, I got the 90 degree right angle version of the data cable plugged in, and 2 pieces of Velcro, 1 zip tie. Let's go ahead and pull the cable off this side. So the data cable is only secured by the Velcro. You can remove him. And then I did put 1 zip tie on the power cable, just to bundle that up. The other thing I was considering doing, and I've also got some Velcro back on the battery holding it. The other thing I was considering is instead of the zip tie, I could relocate the majority of this cable back with the battery and then just run that remainder straight piece forward. So that's another option you have. You have a lot of options you can go with, but I don't see any issue with the first version I did. That'll work just fine. So let's go ahead and plug in the straight side, see what that looks like. And here is the other option, having the straight connector plugged into the goggles. You can see you got that big loop going down. Everything fastened together with some Velcro straps, which makes it removable for transport. The big key with this video and the takeaway is having that strain relief on your cable in case it gets tugged on, so it's not getting pulled out. And then that way, you know, you don't want to damage your connection port or your cable yanking it in various directions. So you want to have that strain relief, and the same goes for your mobile device. That's why I kind of do like having the option between the straight and the right angle 90-degree version, because depending on where you put your phone or your tablet, whether it's in a pocket or you're setting it down on a table or somebody else is looking at it, or you have it set in a tripod, whatever you're doing, you got some options. You know what I mean? The 90-degree, you can see how that can really do you some favors depending on which side it's on. So anyways, that's kind of the purpose of the video, guys. You know, route that cable safely, have some strain relief on it so it's not getting tugged on. So I'd be curious to see what other people are coming up with, and then I'll just put another emphasis on the quality of this cable, having the data transmission capabilities that it does. Pay attention to that when you're buying them. I paid a little over $20 for this one on Amazon, the Fixero. So anyways, there you go, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.